Who is Heracles? He is the son of Zeus and Alcmene, the daughter of the Mycenaean king and wife of Amphitryon. Zeus disguised himself as Amphitryon during his absence on a campaign against the Teleboans and laid with Alcmene, and from this union the demigod Heracles was born. Upon learning of this situation, Hera felt great anger towards Heracles and sent 2 large snakes to kill him while he was lying in his crib with his brother Iphicles at only 8 months old. Iphicles, being a mortal, was terrified, but Heracles strangled the snakes by their necks and killed them. From his childhood, Heracles received a superior education in every aspect, such as archery, horseback riding, and wrestling. When he reached the age of 18, he killed the famous monster living in the forests of Cithaeron. Later, Heracles married Megara, the daughter of King Creon, and had sons with her. In a fit of madness caused by Hera, Heracles killed his children and his wife Megara. And as atonement for this event, it is known that he fulfilled the 12 labors assigned by his cousin Eurystheus in the great bathhouse, which is the most magnificent structure of the ancient city of Syedra, surviving from the Roman period to the present day. There is a floor mosaic depicting the 12 labors of Heracles. The order of the labors depicted on the floor mosaic is as follows. 1. His struggle with the Nemean Lion. The Nemean Lion, offspring of the monsters Orthrus and Echidna, was raised by Hera and placed in the Nemea region of Greece. The monster, which tore apart and ate the local inhabitants and their flocks, lived in a cave with 2 exits, and no weapon could wound it. Heracles tried to defeat it with his club, but when unsuccessful, he frightened it into its cave, blocked one of the cave exits, and strangled it to death there. Afterwards, he flayed its skin using the claws of the lion and made a protective armor for himself from this pelt. 2. The slaying of the Lernaean lake dragon Hydra. According to mythology, the Hydra, a 9-headed snake-like dragon born from Typhon and Echidna, lived in the Argolis Lerna swamp and frequently slaughtered flocks and devastated crops. Upon this task, Heracles went to the Lerna swamp with his nephew and loyal friend Iolaos and found the monster on a hill with its nest beneath it. Heracles asked Iolaos for help, telling him to burn the severed and regenerating heads of the monster with a torch each time, thus preventing the severed parts from coming back to life. Then Heracles cut off its final immortal head, buried it in the ground, and covered it with a rock. The hero, who split the body of the monster in 2, dipped his arrows into the flowing blood, making them poisonous. 3. The hunting of the Erymanthian boar. In this task, Eurystheus ordered Heracles to bring him the wild boar living on Mount Erymanthos alive. Thereupon, Heracles tracked the boar for months, forced the animal out of its lair, tired it out thoroughly, caught it, threw it over his shoulder, and brought it to Eurystheus. Terrified by this sight, Eurystheus hid inside a barrel out of fear. 4. The capture of the Lernaean hind. Upon the plundering of crops by the golden-horned and bronze-hooved female deer named Serenea, Eurystheus ordered Heracles to capture this hind alive. Consequently, Heracles chased the deer for a whole year and wounded it with his arrow just as the deer wanted to cross the Ladon River behind. While he wanted to take it on his back and leave, he encountered Artemis and Apollo. Angered by the capture of their deer, Artemis and Apollo accused Heracles of trying to kill the animal. However, Heracles escaped this situation by stating that this task was given by Eurystheus. 5. The killing of the Stymphalian birds. Upon the damage to crops by these birds living in a forested area on the shores of Lake Stymphalos, in this task given to Heracles, the hero used bronze castanets to drive the birds out of the forested area and succeeded in hunting the animals that took flight, frightened by the sound made by the castanets. 6. The retrieval of the belt of the Amazon queen Hippolyta. According to mythology, Admete, the daughter of Eurystheus, wanted the belt of Hippolyta. To get this belt gifted to Hippolyta by Ares, Heracles came to Themyscira, the port of the land of the Amazons, with a few volunteer friends. Here, when Heracles explained the situation to Hippolyta, the queen voluntarily agreed to give her belt to Heracles. However, Hera, the enemy of Heracles, disguised herself as an Amazon and started a fight among them. As a result, Heracles, thinking he was deceived, killed Hippolyta and took her belt. 7. The cleaning of the stables of King Augeas. In this task, which was quite different from his other labors, the hero was asked to clean the stables of the king of Elis, living in the Peloponnese. According to mythology, the king of Elis inherited a large number of flocks from his father, but the king neglected to remove the manure accumulating in his stables, and this situation caused the soil to become infertile. Upon Heracles made an agreement with King Augeas. If he did this job in one day, Augeas would give him either half of the kingdom or 1/10 of his flocks. Following this agreement, Heracles managed to clean all the accumulated manure in a single day. But the king did not keep his promise and asked Heracles to leave his country. 8. The capture of the Cretan bull. According to mythology, King Minos of Crete promised to sacrifice the first creature to emerge from the sea to Poseidon. But Minos, amazed by the beauty of the white bull coming from the sea, added it to his own herds and sacrificed another, less valuable bull to Poseidon. Angered by this, the god drove the animal mad. Eurystheus assigned Heracles to fetch this animal, which was damaging the crops. Upon this, Heracles went to Crete, managed to catch the bull by its horns, and brought it to Greece. But Hera did not accept the bull intended to be dedicated to her and released it. 9. The fetching of the horses of Diomedes. He was asked to capture and bring the wild-looking mares of the Thracian king Diomedes, which fed on human flesh. Thereupon, Heracles went to Thrace alone, killed the king, and fed his corpse to the horses. He then successfully brought back the calmed horses without any issues. 10. The fetching of the cattle of Geryon. According to mythology, Geryon was a quite large giant with 3 heads and bodies and 6 arms and legs. Heracles was given the task of bringing the cattle belonging to Geryon on the island of Erythea to Athens. However, Heracles, who had to cross the Libyan desert to get there, became very angry at the heat and shot an arrow at Helios. Helios admired his courage and gave him a golden boat that he could use from sunset to dawn. Heracles reached the island of Erythea with this boat and killed Geryon and the guards of his herds. Then he took the cattle, reached Athens via Italy, Gaul, and Thrace, and delivered them to Eurystheus. 11. The bringing of the hound Cerberus from the underworld to the surface. According to mythology, Heracles was tasked with bringing the guard dog Cerberus from Hades, the underworld. Upon this, Heracles went to the underworld with the support of Hermes and Athena, and saw Theseus chained there by Hades. Heracles first freed Theseus from his chains, then appeared before Hades and brought the dog to the surface. However, Eurystheus was terrified when he saw the dog, and Heracles had to take it back to Hades. 12. The bringing of the golden apples from the Hesperides. According to mythology, When Zeus and Hera married, Mother Earth, namely Gaia, presented golden apples to the goddess as a wedding gift. The goddess liked these apples very much and planted them in her garden on the slope of Mount Atlas. But when the daughters of Atlas started picking the apples, the goddess appointed 100 armed immortal dragon and the Hesperides as guards to protect the place. Heracles learned the location of the garden from Nereus and encountered Atlas carrying the world on his back there. Heracles convinced Atlas to steal the apples on the condition of carrying the burden on the back of Atlas for a while. But once he got the apples, he did not want to take the burden back on his back. Heracles, pretending to agree to this, asked Atlas to hold the burden for a short time, claiming he wanted to put a pillow on his shoulders. As soon as Atlas shouldered the burden, Heracles took the apples he had left on the ground and fled from there. We wanted to tell you about the Mosaic found in the great bathhouse of the ancient city of Syedra, which depicts the labors of Heracles.